Entrepreneurs on radio, hello radio, TV, and online. See what's happening in the studio right now by going to our website, businessrockstars.com. And of course, if you miss anything on the show, plus sign up for our newsletter and our social media, it's all there. Wouldn't it be great to always be the most memorable person in the room? And in a good way, by the way. In a good way. Is there some tips and tricks to make that happen for you? Well, I have a scientist that knows how to do that. She's actually written a book on the whole idea of science of people. She is joining us right now, Vanessa. Okay, Van Edwards. I want to make sure it's not Von, because then you would have been Dutch, I think, or something like that.
Dutch is good. Van or Von?
Which one you go by?
Van.
Van.
Yes, but both Dutch.
You're from Los Angeles, but you live in Portland.
I do.
In the art of people, the science of people, this is where your focus is.
Yes, so I'm a recovering awkward person. And I realized that people skills did not come naturally to me. And a teacher once told me, you know, you should study people like you study chemistry.
Okay.
And I went, okay, formulas, blueprints, understanding vocab words. And so I started to study human behavior just like we study chemistry. And that was the first sort of crack to realize that there was a lot of recovering awkward people out there.
Wow.
And that's what our whole brand is the black and white of people skills.
Yeah, but I went and looked at you on YouTube, and I tons of research on you.
Yes.
You would never see that. It's almost as if it's a 180 from whatever you described yourself as.
Absolutely, and I think that's because I've learned to optimize. So for example, everyone falls on different personality spectrums. So there's 5 main personality traits. They're extroversion, agreeableness, neuroticism, openness, and conscientiousness. And so if you know how your personality is wired, you can then optimize for it. It's kind of like hacking human behavior.
So you have to identify which one you are first.
Exactly. So for example, I am more on the introvert side, and I know this. So I've figured out, okay, I'm an introvert in specific situations, loud bars, nightclubs, oof. I just want to crawl into a hole. And like I stammer, I'm horribly awkward. But in one-on-one situations, learning situations, conferences, more quiet where I can have in-depth, meaningful conversations, I thrive. So I've optimized my schedule where I only say yes to birthday parties, events, meetings that fall into my optimize, my thrive locations, and I never say yes to the survive ones.
So if you and I go to a nightclub, it would be torture for you.
Yeah, what I would say to you is, let's go pregame at a bar nearby that I love, great drinks, I know the waitress. We'll get, you know, nice and pregame together, and then I'll send you off on your merry way.
You're gone.
For the nightclub.
So of those different categories, on your website, do you identify what these are to help us out?
So we have a personality quiz you can take, and you can figure out where you are on the spectrum and then how to sort of optimize for it.
The website is?
scienceofpeople.com.
That's where you got to go, scienceofpeople.com. So once we identify what we are, then you start trimming off the fat. Don't do those other things. Only fit yourself inside that category.
Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of this is actually chemical. So if we talk about physiology, the things that really affect our interactions are testosterone and cortisol. So testosterone is the strength hormone. It makes us feel powerful. And what they've found is that winning athletes make very broad body language. And when they do this, they actually begin to pump testosterone. And this helps you think faster, be funnier, make more clever comebacks, deliver better, pitch better. And so I believe that a lot of we'll just, you know, it's like puff it up.
Well, you do this. Actually, the way you stand like a superhero.
Yeah, exactly.
You deliberately do this to get the testosterone going in yourself.
Yes, it's like telling your brain, I'm standing like a winner and I want to feel like a winner, so I want to act like a winner.
Wow, you consciously have to do this.
Absolutely, because as humans, and this sounds terrible, but just go with me for a second.
I'm ready.
When you first meet someone, you quickly decide, is this person a winner or a loser?
Right away.
And that's a terrible thing to think, but our brain goes, do you look more like this? This is a winning athlete pose. You have your arms nice and wide, your shoulders back and down. Or do you look more like a loser? And this looks more like this, right?
Oh, tweeting, by the way, on a mobile phone.
Right, exactly. And so we accidentally go into loser body language every single time we check our phone. But the problem is that's what we do before big meetings or dates or pitches. And so what I want you to think about is it's not just for others, it's also for how you view yourself.
So help us hack ourselves real quick.
Yeah.
So we can actually be perceived as this outgoing individual, which I think that's what you want in the open world, right?
100%.
So what are certain things we can do to make sure we're always in that outgoing look, feel?
Yeah, so first is you want to remind yourself of the success you've had in the past.
Okay.
So I call this a success routine. So everyone has a sort of get ready routine already. getting dressed, putting on makeup, doing your hair, driving somewhere. The more that you can use that time to actually change your biology or your physiology to match what you want to be, the better off you are. So for example, during that time, I will usually talk to someone who makes me feel really good about myself, right? I have like my friends that I always call in those times. I'll pull up old emails of successes or really? Positive emails, or I will stand in broad, expansive body language, which I know is going to increase my testosterone and lower my cortisol.
Every day you do this?
Every time
before you're going to go
yeah,
out.
when I think to myself, okay, what do I want? What's my intention for this event, right? Do I want to show up with strong presence? Not always, right? But sometimes when you do, I think that you have to do that before you even walk in the room. It's like, a warm up before a game.
Now you have a laboratory.
I do.
Right?
Yes.
In this laboratory, you study the way people are.
Yes, it's my lab is my way of asking invasively personal questions for my own amusement.
It makes sense. What are certain things that people do that really affect them in a negative way? You just show texting is probably one.
Yeah.
What's another thing somebody does?
So there's a lot of things that people accidentally do. I would say that the biggest thing that we see is that when you're looking at people in a lab setting, is that they really want to have a first impression. They think their first impression happens the moment they start talking. And they prepare what they want to say. They go into a pitch or an interview and they're like, I have the perfect answers. I have the perfect presentation. But actually those first few seconds of interaction matter far more than anything else you're going to say.
Before you even open your mouth.
Yes, so we did a laboratory study on Shark Tank, where we analyzed all 495 pitches of Shark Tank, and we coded them for about 13 different variables. Everything from body language to how often a shark laughed, to who cried, to their movement, to their vocal power. And we found there were specific patterns that predicted which pitches would go viral and which ones wouldn't.
Before it even happened,
Before it even happened. The biggest thing is their grand entrance. So if you watch Shark Tank, these entrepreneurs,
just walking in.
They walk in, and I had on my screen, we had two videos up, one of a loser pitch, one that didn't get a deal, one of a winner pitch. And I'm watching them over and over again, and I found there was one single thing that the winners did.
It is?
The nod.
The nod.
So when the winners walked into the room, they very slightly gave a little nod to each shark, and that was like the shark's way of saying, friend, not foe.
Vanessa Van Edwards. The scienceofpeople.com?
Yes.
That's where you go. I appreciate you hanging out with us and great information. Let's stop texting and look up and pull our shoulders back and be more in the moment. Connecting you to a world of entrepreneurs. You've been hanging out on Business Rockstars.
This is Business Rockstars.
It's Ken Rakowski, Business Rockstars, connecting you to a world of entrepreneurs right here on radio, TV, and online. If you miss any part of the show, make sure you check out our site, businessrockstars.com. There, we're streaming the show, plus our podcast, social media. Everything is there. On today's show, we'll be diving the idea of what's going on with text messaging, also how to make sure your sales and marketing are combined and working together. And how about the idea of knowing when someone is fibbing, lying, not telling you the truth? Maybe there's some internal secrets that you need to be aware of. Oh, wait a second. I have an expert, a pro that actually does that. Vanessa Van Edwards is joining us, and she understands the science of people better than anyone. She wrote the book on it. You have a laboratory that sits up in the Portland area?
Yep.
Right?
We study all kinds of liars. I interrogate people for a living.
Wait. But that's not what you do. You're not an FBI interrogator or anything like that.
No, we study the science of lie detection. So
really?
Why people lie, what makes them lie, how they tick when they lie. So we put people into intense situations, get them to lie to us, film them, and then code them.
Wasn't there a TV show on Fox, I think 2010,
yes.
all around?
Lie to Me.
Lie to Me.
So what we do, so that show is amazing. I miss it so much. It was based on a real life researcher named Dr. Paul Ekman, and that's who I got my training from. And he studied how our face reacts when we lie. He found that there are 7 universal facial expressions. 7. And they're working on 8 and 9, but they found 7 ones that we can study. And these are universal expressions on our face.
Micro-expressions.
Micro-expressions. They're across cultures, across genders, across races. We all make these faces when we feel an intense emotion. Now, we used to think that babies mirrored or mimicked their parents. But actually, congenitally blind babies who've been blind since birth.
Never seen their parents.
They've never seen a face before, and they make the same facial expressions at the same time as seeing children.
Okay, so can you teach us a few of these?
I can teach you a few.
Because I remember at the very beginning of Lie to Me, they showed these with Bill Clinton saying, I've never slept with that girl, or sexual. And you saw each one of them in a micro expression on their face, right?
Yes.
So we're looking at those. This is what I want you to do, okay? Since you are in a camera environment.
I love it.
Can you show us a micro expression on camera and describe it to the radio audience?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna do the middle camera, guys. Just wanna make sure this camera right here. Okay, so, okay, they're looking at you right there.
All right.
So what's our first micro expression?
So the first micro expression is the simplest. So this is a one-sided mouth raise. So if you're listening or you're watching, you can actually try this with me. I want you to lift just one side of your mouth and a little
like that.
Smirk.
Okay.
And hold it for a second. You'll begin to feel a little sarcastic. Lengthy.
Yeah.
And that is because this is the universal expression of contempt, scorn, disdain. It's a very negative expression. The problem is, most of us think it is half happiness. So
it does look like sarcasm, a smirk.
Yeah,
right,
oh, it's okay. Like, for example, we in our lab have people guess this micro expression, and most often people guess bored or amused. They don't normally guess contempt, but here's the problem. So Dr. John Gottman is a marriage and family counselor up in Seattle, and he did one of the largest experiments on marriage that we've ever seen. What he did is he brought couples into his lab, over 1,000 couples, and he coded them on everything he could think of. Personality tests, IQ tests, he filmed them, he did in-depth interviews, and then he followed them for 30 years. He found that there was one single indicator of which couples would get divorced and which couples would stay together.
And that was?
That one member of the couple showed contempt in the initial intake interview.
Really?
So with 93.6% accuracy, he can tell you if a couple will get divorced.
Oh, I want to do that.
By watching. Oh, do you really though?
Well, the
It's
first one I already
terrifying.
know. I'm going to say the first one would have definitely seen that in my first marriage.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm comfortable to say on my current marriage, my permanent marriage, I don't think either one of us would show contempt. Okay,
So,
another one.
So the next one is half happiness. So I want to talk about the difference between real and fake happiness.
Okay.
Most of us think a smile is real happiness, but anyone can
It's the
put a
eyes,
fake
right?
smile. Exactly. So it's close. It's actually these upper cheek muscles, fondly known as the crow's feet. So if you think about your crow's feet, right on the upper cheek muscles, only 1 in 10 people can consciously activate those muscles. Now this means that if you see a fake smile, you know that that is not reaching all the way up in their cheek muscles, and they are faking it. All right.
that.
So I always say, look at the crow's feet. And by the way, if you want to feel this, if you put a pen in between your teeth or a finger between your teeth, and then raise your lips, that's activating those crow's feet.
That was a lot of work, actually.
That was
No, I'm being serious, to really make that intentionally happen.
Because it's our face, it's called the facial feedback hypothesis. We want to be able to really feel the emotions that we have. Then we don't want to have to be able to fake it.
I want to make sure we get through all 7. Is it possible?
It's maybe possible. We can try.
Let's try another one, number 3.
All right, so let's do anger. So anger is when you pull your eyebrows together and make those vertical lines between your forehead, and then harden your lower lids at me, and then clench your jaw or your
That's
lips.
obvious.
You know, this looks obvious, but most people think of anger as a slightly different thing, which is frustration or annoyance. But anger is one of those emotions where if you spot it, you can actually dispel it right away. So if you see it on a partner or a colleague or a friend, you can say, hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, cheer up. Come on.
Can I make anything better for you?
But it's still there.
But that, just even acknowledging the anger, it instantly dispels it. I think that microexpressions are the key to better communication with everyone in your life.
We've touched upon 3 of them so far.
3.
If you want to check out what Vanessa's doing, you could also get her newsletter by going to scienceofpeople.com. Her newsletter's there.
And all the facial expressions, too.
All of them are there, and you can learn
there.
about your personality type, too, so you have more of an outgoing personality. It's on her site. Let's try to get a couple more in.
Yeah, let's do fear. So when you're afraid, so for example, if you saw me and you saw my lids widen and my eyebrows go up my forehead, you would instantly go, what's wrong?
Yeah,
what's
of course.
happening? So fear is whenever you see the whites of someone's eyes and their eyebrows go up their forehead.
So how do we see that as a lie? I don't understand.
What we're looking for is incongruency. So what you're trying to find is, are their words aligning with their face? So for example, if someone says, oh yeah, no problem.
Oh, fear. Got it.
Right?
I just saw that.
And
okay.
they're flashing fear at you, you know, whoa, whoa, whoa. Right? Not everything is okay. If your wife says to you, I'm fine.
No, I got it.
Right?
Yeah.
And she has that anger expression, you know, no, it's not fine.
Okay.
Okay, so
Boy, I got to tell you, the text world must be very difficult for you.
I try to bring all my interactions in person.
Well, I get that, but the world is text
I know.
messages, right?
It's true. Actually, we do something called statement analysis, which is lie detection through words. I know.
You got to be hanging out here more often. Okay.
Yes.
We got 2 more I think we could get to.
So let's do disgust. So think of the face you make when you smell something bad. So this is when you crinkle your nose up,
Right.
those wrinkles, and you flash the upper whites of your teeth.
Not looking good on you right now.
Not looking good on me right now, but watch this. So if you were to ask me, so what do you think of the new girl? Oh yeah, she's fine.
Wow.
That is an incongruency because you're seeing disgust even though I'm saying everything is fine. So people hold disgust right before they're usually about to lie.
And number 7.
And number 7 is surprise. This is the easiest one. It's the longest. It's when your eyebrows go up your forehead and your mouth drops down. It's the longest of the micro expressions. And it just means, they're pleasantly surprised with something.
An example in a lie.
An example, so if you ask your kids, so did you know about the cheating incident at school? And they go, no, they really didn't know. But if they show fear, no. You got a different line
You're
of
going to be
questioning.
a tiger mom.
I know. I can't wait.
Now, you mentioned micro expressions on our face,
Yeah.
body expressions.
Yeah. So body expressions we have similar rules, but they're not quite as cut and dry as the facial expressions. For example, when we look at liars, typically they're showing higher anxiety behaviors. So when we are highly anxious, we typically do something called pacification. Pacification is when we will rub our arms, crack our knuckles, rub the back of our neck. That is because it releases a chemical called oxytocin. And oxytocin calms us down. So if someone's lying and they're trying to say, keep it together, they'll rub their arms, they'll rub the back of their neck, they might even rub at their eyes to try to keep their body calm to get
Makes
to the lie.
sense. So I suffer, well, I don't see I suffer from it, but I have something called synesthesia. Do you know what that is?
It's how you perceive
So
sensations.
you and I both have 5 senses.
Yeah.
You have 5 receptacles for your sense. I
Yes.
have 1. So a sunset is loud to me. The
Interesting.
color that you're wearing has a certain taste to me, okay?
Yeah.
So what I do when I meet somebody right away is I hug them, which I did to you.
Yeah.
And what I do is I feel what's going on with you. If you're tense, you're untense, if you're standoffish,
Yeah.
all based upon a hug. Now, I can do that because I'm a host of a show and people are going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Most people can't. So
Yeah.
I got to somehow figure somebody out from across the room I'm not able to hug.
Yeah.
You're looking at this from a distance, so you can look in a room right away and understand what people are going through.
Yes.
Now, here's the most important question. Do you train people to do this?
Yes.
You do?
Yes. That's all of our research. The end goal is to teach people how to use it. So whenever we're talking about I call it speed reading people.
Yeah.
So if you walk into a room, a business meeting, a negotiation, an interview, I want you to be able to look at someone and say, I know exactly what they need. I know exactly how to provide it. I know exactly how to talk to them so that we can have a better connection.
Wow.
It's called hacking behavior.
But
right?
I'm going to tell you that's got to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to go through.
No. We have all of our, first of all, a lot of it's up for free. So all the beginner stuff is up for free.
And you can certify people to actually be in this situation, right?
Yes, so we can certify people to do body language training, hacking, lie detection. It's very fun, very geeky.
One of my closest friends just walked in here, and I want you to take a look at him a little later on and find out how much of him is real or the rest is just a B and an S,
Uh-oh,
okay?
you're
We'll
going to make
find
me
out
lose
later.
some friends later.
Yeah, or maybe me lose some friends. I'm not
Okay.
really sure. So as you go through this, are you constantly upping your game where you're learning more and more micro techniques?
Yeah, what I find is that the further we go into human behavior, it's sort of like an onion, right? We get more and more complex. And so I begin to find things, we stumble upon things like personality, or we'll figure out, like, we just looked at eye gaze and eye behavior as something I didn't even think about it.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, it's been great having you on the show, Vanessa.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Real smile, real smile.
It is, it's
Trust
real.
me.
No, I got it. People want to find out more. Again, the
Website, scienceofpeople.com.
that's where you go. You can find out more about micro expressions plus what personality type you are so you can shine in a room. When we come back, we'll look at what's going on when it comes to, well, texting. I'm Ken Rakowski, connecting you to a world of entrepreneurs right here on Business Rockstars.